Oh my goodness. This is it. We're here.
What time is it? What time is it, Sam?
I tell you what, it's too fucking late to record a podcast.
It's party time. That's what
it's party time. Oh, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Oh no, we've missed the cue. We're going to have to do this.
No, but
we're going to have to.
We haven't got the copyright. It's not going to work.
No, it's fine. It's fine. We're not doing that. Great good times. Come on.
Stop doing it half-heartedly because I don't want to get sued. We made it.
We did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think sober podcast.
We apologise if we're a bit shouty. We've been trying to. I think it's fair to say that this has been the most challenging beginning to a podcast that we've ever recorded because Ellie Crow has been making a hash.
I nearly did an Alan Partridge and went, oh, fuck off then.
It's past our bedtime. We record podcasts like this. We have
to do it early in the day for good reason.
For this reason, because otherwise it just crumbles at the most important podcast episode we've ever recorded, and it's all gone to shit.
Well, you're just making that up now.
Yeah. Well, what am I making up? That it's the most important podcast?
Yeah.
Well, it's a year. What could be more important than that? The long pause.
Think of something.
This is our biggest anniversary yet. Anyway, today.
Well, you could say that our most important episode was the first one.
Oh yeah, and we might be getting to that at some point.
Don't spoil it.
Okay. Right. Well, anyway, right. Today we're going to be doing a special. What are we going to call it?
Celebratory episode of our 5 most listened to podcast episodes with some very exciting guests. And some we've handed out a few awards, really.
Oh yeah, and we might have received some things in return, which we're quite excited to play live on air. So that's going to be great. And don't forget, for anyone listening in, this is a very, very special episode with some very special things around it. And not too long from now, we'll be saying a secret word, but
secret word.
Not yet. It's going to be so secret that it's going to be relatively obvious, I think. Anyway, we're going to get to that.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. First of all, we're going to start with in 5th place. In 5th place, we have a wonderful guest, one of my bestest buddies. So pleased to see that she was in the top 5. It was a fabulous episode full of LOVE. It's the one and only Ms. Emma Gilmore.
Yes. And it was so loving. It was such a lovely podcast. And so what we're going to do, how we're going to do this, play a little clip and then have a chin wag about what all the amazing things that Emma said.
What was that, the hand gesture there?
Anyway.
Yes, let's have a little listen to Emma about what made this episode so special and why we want to celebrate it.
Bear with me. With any luck, the tech is still working, and this is going to go without a single
clockwork.
Hitch. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Here we go.
And this is one of the pieces that I'm very much on the journey still of, which is trying to learn how to be myself authentically and that be okay, and not having to take responsibility for everybody else's feelings and emotions, and which I tend to do, and I think a lot of people do, especially probably people who drink as well. I think it's kind of an empath thing, isn't it? But also there's that I can't remember the right word for it now, people pleasing kind of thing, where you don't know the difference between you and somebody else. And so when other people are unhappy, it just floods you, as you've got no way of differentiating yourself. And so you might have an argument with someone or a discussion with somebody, and they go off and have a great day, and you're just left like completely activated and just because you've taken on everything, and you've made it about you.
Oh, it's
such a good clip. Such a good clip, and comedy value for anybody watching. of me putting my thumbs up to say, yeah, it's working.
It's working. Who fucking knew? Awesome.
This has come up again and again and again in our world, in the present and sober world, in the programs that we run, and just the kind of I love how Em put it, just the kind of like forgetting kind of like where we end and the other people begin. Yeah.
It's so frequently done, so easily done. And it's this misunderstanding around how our experience is created.
Yeah.
And when you start to see it, everything changes. And it's a real road to living a full, wholehearted, authentic life.
Yeah. And it's so, yeah, like when you were talking about how experience is created, it's kind of like this kind of being able to pick up on kind of things out there and intuition and feeling people's kind of emotions and stuff. It's like we're not denying that this may be going on, and the thing is, it's what we do with it once it's within our sort of like remit. It's for many people who are in the kind of, who consider themselves empaths, that it can become a curse. They feel as if they're carrying the weight of the world on them, and actually it's a superpower if we know how to work with it. It can be amazing to be in tune and to see how other people are feeling, but anything beyond that, it's not our responsibility to take other people's feelings. And this is a big thing. You know, I did this for years, and actually accidentally we can sometimes, you know, I used to accidentally invalidate people's experiences, things that would have been really, really meaningful. Who am I to say what somebody should or shouldn't be feeling? At the end of the day, I just like want to be there and give them a hug. And so in that way, it's a superpower. I maybe had to pick up on how people are feeling, but it doesn't mean anything about me, you know? It's a journey we're all on.
Yeah, it is. And as human beings, we're going to forget every now and again. We're going to get lost every now and again. We need to have compassion for ourselves. But it's a wonderful thing when you realize that nobody else can hurt your feelings, only you can hurt your own feelings. Big subject.
Big one.
Slightly worried that we're going to go off on a tangent and then ruin the whole podcast episode.
Well, we'll make sure that we're not. And the really great thing about this is we kind of decided we're just going to have a riff around our favorite thing, but like the most downloaded podcast, find our favorite pieces from them or some great parts and just have a bit of a chat around it. And this may spiral out into other podcasts, pal, and that would be amazing, right? So we can take mental notes. I think that's something we should definitely explore in more depth. But I loved Emma's honesty about that. It's even when we're walking with people and coaching, and no one's got it all figured out, you know. That's really good to know. It's really lovely to know that the people that you're working with are actually still figuring stuff out and getting to grips with it. And yeah, I think that's a really, really powerful thing.
Yeah, well, I don't think you can teach what you haven't experienced, what you haven't work through yourself.
I think we know when people are, you know, sharing what you've actually seen is so powerful. And I think when we're around people that are sharing things that they've kind of picked up from somewhere else and they don't really quite get it yet, maybe we know that we can, and like we're all human. That's something I used to do a lot. I used to do that a lot when I was in my 20s. I was like a soundbite machine, sort of going around like repeating all these cool things I'd heard.
Well, the ego likes to get involved, right?
Oh, exactly. I had one of them on me. I mean, you know, I still do, but in the 20s, it was a different animal back then.
And it wasn't a slippery fish. And certainly, by the way, that isn't the secret word. It's not coming yet. You go.
Oh, but it's coming soon. About 1 minute.
So, do we want to? We wanted to hand an award to my beautiful friend Em. We wanted to thank her wholeheartedly for coming on our wonderful podcast and just sharing her essence and her joy and her heart. She's a wonderful, wonderful lady. And we sent her something pretty special as a big thank you.
Did we?
Lots of love and some imaginary flowers.
Oh yeah. This is great. Should we play Em's acceptance speech?
Let's go.
Right.
Oh my goodness. I cannot believe how delighted I am to receive this beautiful award for being in the top 5 most downloaded podcasts for Ellie and Sam's amazing podcast, Present and Sober. And as you can see, I have these beautiful flowers here to celebrate my participation in what I believe was an incredibly loving, loved up, divine experience for me, chatting with those two legends, having a giggle, having them make fun of me. And I'm sure that all the other top 5 wonderful participants will be looking forward to receiving their wonderful gifts. So thank you so much, Ellie and Sam. I love you too. You're awesome. Your podcast is the best. I love being on it, and I share it with all my clients. Any of my clients will tell you that I direct them to Ellie and Sam, and every time I listen to the podcast, it blows my mind. I'm like, oh my goodness, these guys are geniuses. I love them.
Oh, we
Big
love you too,
massive cuddles and hugs.
Emma.
Emma from Australia with her beautiful flowers. I'm sure you're all very jealous.
Love the way she like try. So good.
I thought she'd finish. Bless her. Oh my God, I love you, Em. You're so funny. Oh dear me. She set us up. She set us right up for having to send out gifts to all the award nominees. And we had not prepared for that. You know what we could have done with? We could have done with some mugs. Perhaps some slippery fish mugs to hand out for people to dunk their biscuits into.
You're right.
Rich tea. Oh no, they're no good, are they, for dunking? What you need is stodgy biscuits.
Yes, you do. You need some stodgy biscuits. What do you need?
Stodgy biscuits.
Because stodgy biscuits are what you need. So anyway, so mugs, stodgy biscuits.
If you need a slippery fish mug for your stodgy biscuits,
don't forget the stodgy biscuits.
Yeah, don't forget the stodgy biscuits. So who's next? Who's next up?
Next is
drum roll.
Bear with me. Dun 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 dun. Hang on a minute. I'm bringing all these things up. Do you know what I was going to say? I was going to say, in no particular order. Actually, there
is an order. There is an order. It's number 4. And from memory, I think it's a very special friend of mine who likes to refer to parenting as deeply unpleasant work. It's the one and only Mr. William Porter.
It certainly is. Am I playing his clip now? Hang on a minute.
What a legend.
You ready? Here we go. Let's listen, and then we'll chat. He's a legend.
In 2015, and it was a different landscape even then. So even 5 or 6 years ago, it was very, very different. Over those 5 years, the sober movement's grown massively. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And one of the main changes is, and exactly, the kind of thing that your podcast is doing, is showing people that sobriety, it's a positive lifestyle change. It's not something you do because you're somehow damaged and you can't drink like a gentleman or whatever, and therefore you've got to quit. It's actually, no, life's a lot better when you don't drink.
We love a bit of William. We love how direct he is, and just how he just tells it as it is, and that's so important, I think, because there's no room for waffling when it comes to the truth.
Yes,
I mean, there's loads of room for waffle when it's me, because I love a waffle, but no, it's true. Like, and that episode, I think William just has a real, I know he's said this before, but he has a real gift for taking things that can seem complicated and just packaging them in a way that's just so lovely to listen to. And I know he said, like, he's always surprised when he hears that. But it's true, right? And his books are, I think they're groundbreaking. They're really amazing, the work that he's done.
Yeah, 100%. And if for some reason you don't know who William is, he's the author of Alcohol Explained. excuse me, an Alcohol Explained 2. And he's also got a fantastic new online course. And just as Sam has said, like, the thing that I love about William is the no nonsense approach, no bullshit. It's he's very he just has a way of making things very, very clear, very, very simple. There's no fluff around it. There's no it's not sentimental. It's just, here it is. Make an informed choice.
Yeah, and we had such a great chat on that podcast. We were talking about sleep. We spoke about nicotine. We were talking about, how the tides are changing and all the amazing things that are going on, and just how quickly it's changing as well. Like in the last 5 or 6 years, it's insane the difference, like on social media and the books that have come out and the quit lit scene, and just all these amazing positive voices out there spreading the word about this being an empowering choice. And we were so honored to have William on and to be able to call him a friend, and some of the amazing things we've done, raising money together and all sorts of really awesome things. It's been so much fun.
Yes, yeah, he's a top guy.
He certainly is.
We sent him a little award as well. He didn't get any flowers.
No, he didn't. Sorry, William. So bad, but we did get
virtual flowers.
We did get back in return a little acceptance speech. So I'm going to play that now. You ready?
There we go.
Thank you so much for my award. It's such a great honour for the Present and Sober podcast. I'm told it's one of the top 5 most downloaded, which is absolutely fantastic to hear. And also the most direct and informative, which is absolutely fantastic. I wanted to say thank you for inviting me on the podcast. It was really enjoyable. You've got such fantastic hosts, which I think is why it's such a successful podcast. So thank you so much, and hopefully I shall see you all soon. Thank you and goodbye.
I'm pretty sure that was William just inviting himself back onto the podcast.
Yes, it was. Get the date sorted. Full show.
Sure. I love how seriously everybody's taken this, apart from Emma.
Yeah, apart from Emma. Who fact it all right up.
I mean, this is clearly meant to be incredibly serious, as anyone can tell.
But thank you, William. Thank you again for just being who you are. It's one of my absolute highlights of going alcohol free and getting involved in this whole sober movement is meeting people along the way, people like William. It's just a real treat. And the fact that he would afford as much time as he has to us, as you say, we did the fundraiser for Ukraine, and we've spent some time doing lives and things together. So I'm eternally grateful. Thank you, William.
Yeah. And you've actually met William in person. You haven't even met me in person.
Yes, I have. That. Yeah. William made the effort
to set up a party for you in London. It's true. Right. Okay. Hang on a minute. Okay. In a very particular order.
In a very particular order.
The next.
Now this guy.
Hang on a minute.
Is it not? This gal. Gal. This is going to be a bit controversial.
Controversial. I need you to move away from the microphone. That's controversial, isn't it?
All right.
Well, look, you've been a bit shouty. And we're going to get loads of complaints. I'm going to have to field them. It's going to be email after email
Has anybody ever complained?
No, actually, I don't think so. Only love has come so far.
Exactly. Right.
It's going to happen at some point. Someone's going to complain about, I don't know, probably something you said at some point, I imagine.
I'm turning to Alan again. Fuck off. In the number 3 spot.
Yeah.
Rather controversially, we have.
Oh, it is very controversial.
Do you want to just play the clip and people can guess?
I mean, the episode's not controversial, but where
the placing,
who they've been pipped by, that's it's very controversial. You ready for this?
Here we go. Shop and take a breath.
Intentionally of choosing where we focus our attention and our intention. And it never ends, but you can look around your life and be surprised and amazed because you realize that most of what is there now, you chose. You didn't happen into, you didn't accident into. Alcohol for me was very much slipped in that big mud puddle. There wasn't any consciousness in it. There wasn't a lot of intention in saying, what life do I want to create here? It was more like, hey, this helps. Okay, great. Thank you, world. I'll do what you think is right for me rather than what I think is right for me. Because by the way, it wasn't that I was choosing to do what I thought was wrong for me. It was that I had never even stopped to think that I had a choice. I never even stopped to realize, like, wait, why am I doing this? And it wasn't until years later when I did that. And then when you start to do that with everything, it's like an onion, layer by layer, you start to peel away and be like, oh my gosh, I can actually choose how to show up in this situation. I can actually choose to be nicer to this person who I don't really like. And guess what? Then they're nicer to me and then I like them more. Wow, what's that? Like, you really realize that you are always constantly creating your experience through where you choose to put your attention.
Such a, yes. Powerful that. And for anyone who didn't know, that's Annie Grace, the one and only, who I think it's fair to say that if it wasn't for, I don't know if we can quite say that, but Annie's influence on this podcast is huge because, me and Ellie have both trained with This Naked Mind. The book was huge for both of us. And, it's such a huge part of everything that we do here. So it's very, very cool that Annie has made it into the top 5. And that podcast itself was awesome. Choice, abundance. If you're looking for something, because we really wanted to talk to, the face behind this amazing thing that's been created, and find out some stuff that's not just about alcohol, right?
Oh yeah, it was a belter of an episode, that one. Really, really good. And whether you know Annie or not, whether you're familiar with This Naked Mind or not, there is something for you to learn in that episode. That the little clip that we played just there, she's talking about, this point about where energy, hang on a minute, where attention goes, energy flows.
Yeah.
And this whole theme of choice, it's funnily enough that it plays nicely after William's point about, we have a choice about how we want to live our lives. And alcohol, being alcohol free, being very much a health and wellness choice and a positive lifestyle change, as opposed to something that's been imposed on you. And what Annie talked a lot about in that episode was just what can happen when we change the way that we look at the world and look at how we create our own experience. So fantastic episode.
Yeah. And that's it. When we change the way we see the world, we literally change our reality. So it's we're seeing through different eyes, and it's just so powerful. And apparently Annie's a very busy lady because
she was on holiday.
So we're just going to have to
we have to imagine that there was an acceptance speech.
We're assuming that Annie's accepted this. She might have rejected the award. I think it's highly unlikely. I think it's highly unlikely. But maybe it's a good thing, because I don't know what kind of possible tension or issues we could have created if she'd have discovered the truth of who she was, who's ahead of her in second place.
Buckle up, people.
This is a I was going to say a mic drop, a cliffhanger. It's not one of them either. It's just a shock. Well, it's not even a shock. I'm just saying a load of things it isn't.
Just I'll tell you what, you cue it up and I'll intro it. This is the man, the legend, the beard, what did we call him? Vice President of Beards.
Yeah,
old Scott. You got annoyed about that. Old Scott. You
with no D.
Old Scott.
Still there, isn't it?
And fellow Alan Partridge fan, Mr. Scott Pinyard, head coach at This Naked Mind.
Let's go.
Have compassion for yourself, but also it's okay to feel. And the number of people that I coach, that I have to, that I talk to in professional and personal life, like I just see so many people walking around with this idea that it's not okay to feel, right? That it's not okay to feel sad, that it's not okay to feel depressed. And to your point, Sam, like it's not about it not being okay, it's about allowing. And I think that's hard. I think that's hard for people to really get, because so much of what we talk about is about not being that way, right? Is celebrating being happy. We don't talk about the other side of it that much.
Boom.
I was just listening. That was the first time I've listened to Scott on that episode for quite a long time. Was he poorly with COVID, or just was he recovering from COVID?
I think it was just before. Yeah.
He sounded a little bit poorly. I was feeling a lot of love towards Mr. Scott there. He just sounded a little bit poorly.
I always feel a lot of love for Mr. Scott.
Well, he's a very special guy, isn't he?
He is. And that was probably, I mean, like, wow, did that start some conversations? And I really, really, appreciated that like conversation, because we got to talk about some things that, Ellie, we talk about these things a lot. And it was just so great to talk about consciousness, the experience, our experience, how it's created, feelings, and how it's okay to feel them, non-resistance, like all these amazing things that we have woven into everything that we do and our programs, and it's woven into T&M as well. And yeah, it was just really, really great to like get inside Scott's head and like, hear how he sees things, because he's, thinking about things from when they're creating programs for This Naked Mind, and when they're, Scott's constant, I know from talking to him that he's always questioning his understanding as well, which is just so powerful when you're creating things for people to help guide them home and to help them grow. Like that's to be on that journey yourself, which I know that he is, and Annie, that's amazing. And yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And he has a real skill in how he brings his perspective to all of the programs. Like you think about, you and I are coaching in the Living Naked program, and every week I'm just like, oh, this is fucking good. This is really fucking good. And from a coaching perspective, the way that he thinks about the, how it's going to work for us as coaches. And he just, I think he's got a real talent in how he puts things together and makes it really practical, ruthlessly practical.
Guess that's why he's head coach at This Naked Mind.
Oh, yes.
And now I know it's going to take Annie a long time to get over this, but and Scott's maybe going to have to check his ego seriously about this, I imagine.
But just to rub salt in the wounds, we've got an acceptance speech from Scott.
Scott took this seriously. That was true. Hang on, which I will play now.
Thank you so much.
Oh no, that's William Porter.
It's a great honor.
Oh well, have you ever wondered if this is being recorded live, everybody? There we go. Sorry, Scott, I've literally shat on your moment.
Hang on, let's cue it up again. What did I say?
I don't know, say it again.
Oh, rubbing salt in the wounds. Here we go, Scott.
Oh, well, I don't know what to say other than thank you so much. I have to say, I've done a lot of podcast interviews. This by far was one of my favorites. I absolutely love talking to Sam and Ellie. They do amazing, amazing stuff. And so I'm really honored to be here. I thought about making some sort of joke of like thanking everyone I know and pretend like it's the Emmys, but I'll just give you the essence of the joke instead of trying to pull it off myself. Anyway, thank you so much. And to Sam and Ellie, you guys are awesome. I am really excited to see where you take things.
Well, I have to say, I'm so glad you took this seriously, Scott, because this is not a place for jokes. And we wouldn't have played it had you made a joke, to be perfectly honest with you. No, thank you so much, dude. what a lovely, what an absolutely lovely message. And we know that Scott listens a lot, we know that he's tuning in and is a genuine fan of what we're up to. And that just means a huge amount because we know how switched on he is.
Have you just called Scott a fan?
Is that what I said? That's fine.
I'll take it.
Yeah. I mean, I made that up. I don't know if he described himself that way.
Super fan, maybe?
Yeah, he's a super fan. Scott's a super fan. There's going to be, I think we're definitely going to leave the bit in where I accidentally don't play Scott.
Accidentally play William. Phenomenal.
Sorry, Scott. it is literally phenomenal. Anyway, so here we are. We've somehow, by hook or by crook, in 30 minutes we've been doing. We can run an awards ceremony.
I think we've been quite slick. And this is the really, really exciting bit because we're now at the number 1 spot. I mean, which guest do you think could possibly have hit the number 1 spot? We've had all the biggies in.
Who could be bigger than
all the
Annie,
hitters.
Scott? Who could it be?
I don't know.
Do you even know, Ellie? Have I told you?
I don't think you've told me. Do you want to just play the beginning of the episode and we'll just see who it is?
Are we just gonna just play? How long are we gonna play? How much do you want to hear?
Probably till I laugh.
Until you laugh. That might happen quite soon because I don't know about you. Well, I can speak for myself. Ellie does know who it is, but we haven't listened to this, have we?
No, we haven't listened
since
to
we
this.
recorded it. That's a little bit of a what's the word?
This is like a revisiting of a crime scene.
Yeah, and we know who committed the crime as well. You ready for this?
I wonder if my voice will sound like it did in the 80s.
We didn't record this in the 80s.
No, but when you listen back to things from ages ago, it always sounds different.
We didn't record it on cassette tape. I mean, things have got better over the course of the last year, but anyway, you ready?
As ready as I'll ever be. Let's go.
We are recording, Ellie. There we go. We finally made it here to the first episode of the Present and Sober podcast. So introduce yourself. Why are we here? Tell us about you.
Tell us about you.
So my name is Ellie Crow and I live in Cambridge in the UK.
Yeah, look,
and
very
I'm certified This Naked Mind coach.
Very formal.
I'm a senior coach now.
This Naked Mind fame. And then also I'm a certified grey area drinking coach, and that was training.
Just listing your certifications.
You're
being very loud. You're being loud.
Sure is, yeah. So I also trained with Jolene.
Here we go.
Drinking.
Well, I had to get in
Currently
there.
training with This Naked Mind as well.
Here we go.
Currently.
Oh, you were a trainee.
And I've had in terms of breath certificates and yoga
So this went well.
kind of thing. Lots of different
Like
experiences that I
breathing.
tried to pull together on this journey. And the nice thing, Ellie, is that I think we're really aligned on just so many different things.
That's true.
And we were thinking like,
Just
how
before
on
we
earth
fell
do we
out.
start a podcast like this when we've got so much we could talk about? But you said something to me the other day about a radio show you were listening to that had really struck a chord with you, and it did with me as well. So I think that's a cool place to start. So tell us a bit about that.
What was that?
So this is
Jeremy
a
Vine.
mainstream.
You didn't mention his name.
Radio show.
I was getting
and I
cross
just
with Jeremy
happened to
Vine.
catch
You said you didn't mention his name in the first one, and that's it. You've dropped the bombshell now that you were
I think
getting
I've said
angry.
it a few times because I keep trying to get on there and he won't let me on.
You're not allowed on.
I don't think we're allowed to swear on BBC.
Yeah, that is a
News.
problem. You can't take you anywhere that you're not allowed to swear.
Liability.
You are that. You are that.
Oh.
Well, anyway, but that means that the most listened to podcast. I mean, I think we had a bit of a leg up. Ellie's miming at me to do a sound effect. Hang on a minute. I wondered what you were doing for a moment. You ready?
Yay! Woohoo! We won. We won.
Yeah, in your faces. Sorry, no, not really. That was
In your face, Annie, Grace. In your face, Scott.
Pinyard. In your face, Emma Gilmore. We beat you there. We beat you to the top because it's our podcast, and we could even be lying. No one would even know. We're not. It is genuinely the most listened to one. It's not that surprising. It's the first one, so it's pretty much what people land on.
Well, don't talk it down. Don't talk it down.
Well, look, it's not. It was basically you just talking about all the cool things you've done.
Well, I am pretty cool.
I mean, you are.
I'll tell you what, did you find that a little bit uncomfortable?
Yeah, very,
Ooh,
very.
ooh.
Yeah, it was a little bit cringe, like you said. bit of a cringe crime scene moment. Yeah. Anyway.
Mm. But do you know what? We did a fucking marvelous thing. We created a podcast, buddy.
We did.
And it's been going for a year. And we've
Stop.
had over 250,000 downloads.
That's pretty damn cool.
It is.
And yeah, long may it continue. It nearly ended at the beginning of this one. We were having so many twos and throws and tech issues that I nearly just fired Ellie on the spot and called it the Sober Podcast. No, it wouldn't be half as much fun if we weren't doing this together, would it? It's been an absolute absolute pleasure to rock up and do these.
There wouldn't be a present podcast because I wouldn't be able to figure out the tech. So
yeah, basically just be
just be me
in a room talking to yourself.
Talking to myself.
Which, you probably do quite a few podcasts a week if that's the metric. It's probably like 20 hours of unedited episodes there every single week.
Yeah. with lots of illicit content.
Yeah.
Like just swearing, not anything else. Oh, fucking hell. So I dug me a hole.
Corkers, absolute corkers. Right. That has been a sharing of many amazing things. We can't thank all of our guests enough. Everybody who came on, it's amazing. There were some people that were super, super close in there. And like, it's just lovely that people want to come on and share their stories. And the more that we can do this and the more impact we can have, we're hoping to just continue to do that over the next of the years to come.
We've covered some massive subjects.
Yeah.
We've covered alcohol related subjects and non-alcohol related subjects, covered awesome things like how to moderate triggers, how to manage cravings, all that sort of stuff. We've talked about prison with Susan, the lovely Susan.
Oh, that hasn't come out yet.
But we still talked about.
Oh no, that has come out. Oh, no, yeah, that's true. Well, there we go. There's even a spoiler alert for the second
spoiler
one.
alert for what's coming next week.
Yeah.
We've talked. We had the lovely Siobhan on early doors. She was our first guest, and she is a zero proof drinks expert.
Yeah, we've
covered all sorts of stuff. We had our wonderful teacher Jolene Park on, and she's the reason that there's a you and I, because that's where we met.
That's true. We've had an absolute so many amazing T&M coaches on, and it's just such a gift that we've got to do this. So thank you, big heartfelt thank you, and yeah.
Do you know what's really, really wonderful? I got a message from one of my friends the other week or so ago, and I don't see her very often. So we lived together many years ago, and she moved back to Australia, and so I don't get to see her at all. I haven't seen her for so many years, but when you still feel really, really close to somebody, and I think about her often. And I got this lovely, lovely message from her, and it was because she'd been listening to the podcast. She just told me she'd been listening to the podcast, and she was asking some questions about some of the stuff that we covered. And it was just like the most wonderful thing. I was like, oh my God, you're listening to me all the way over there. It's wonderful.
Yeah, it's incredible what we can do from the comfort of our own home. And I thank anyone for being along on the journey as we've learned the tech, and who knows, some of our levels may have been out today. Quite possible. But we want, as we go forwards and as we create backstage content, which is coming, and as we go on these amazing journeys, we want you to know that we're always going to be investing in the podcast. We're always going to be trying to improve it and get it out to more people. And this is always going to be something where we give our all. There are different ways that you can come into our world and experience what it's like to be present and sober. But this is going to be something that we don't hold back on this. I think anyone listening can tell that we don't do that. Just a massive thanks to everybody. for coming on the ride with us, and long may it continue to the next year. Hey,
I'm very humbled indeed. It's been wonderful to create something like this, and I think when we started it off, we didn't really have any idea how it was going to go. The fact that people listen and enjoy it and share it, and it's funny, we'll be in groups and people are talking about our podcast, and it's like, oh wow, and specific episodes that have really helped somebody. It's just truly wonderful. So I am so thankful to everybody that's supported us in whatever way, listening, sharing, subscribing, joining the Facebook community that we have. It's just a real honor and a pleasure. So thankful.
absolutely. Right, mate. Let's get.
Going to be our shortest podcast ever.
I think it might be. Let's get planning the next year and crack on. We might have a Scott part 2 coming. We might have a Susan Joy part 2 coming. We might have a whole host of amazing things in the pipeline are coming. So
yeah, we've got a real biggie.
Biggie. Right. Lips closed to you.
Yeah.
And I know you're not, but I know what you like. I know what you like.
I know you.
We've been working together long enough now. I know exactly what you like. And loads of awesome stuff coming up. Backstage stuff, new groups coming always. And thanks for everybody for taking part in all the things we do. Right. Lots of love, people. Speak to you
Celebration.
soon. I'm doing my own. I've got to go and find the sound
effect. Come on. Pull your finger out.
This is where I play William Porter's one again.
Do that, yeah.
It didn't work. Hang on.
Come on.
Well, I thought we'd finished with the sound effect. You're going to have to wait now.
Amateur podcasting.
Well, don't go. I mean,
There you go.
Ready?
Yeah. There we go. Thank you all.
Oh, it's off.
What's off?
It's off to the next one. It's off to the races. Right. Love you all. See you soon. Mwah.
Mwah.